I mean, who, as a Native woman, it's a true blessing that I get to work with all Native children. And all the people that, make that possible. I want to thank you for that. And that's why I'm here today. So with that said, thank you for listening to my story. And I started out by saying everything has a purpose. There's a reason for everything. And I believe that. And I believe that that's part of what the hoop symbolizes, is that complete circle. So I hope everybody had a chance to grab an agenda. And I'm just going to go over that real quick with you. At 9:40, Mr. Don Kohais of White Bison will be up to talk about what led up and why we're here today. We'll have a brief break. We're going to come in at 10:30 and we'll have a slideshow. From 11 to 12, we're going to have a panel of alumni. We will have folks that graduated a long time ago. I was going to say the year, but I better not. All the way to today. So we have a whole range of experiences that, for the question marks, you'll hear a whole range of stories. Then we'll have lunch, which is going to be provided here. The continuation of the stories, and then from 2 to 3, we're going to be going over to the cemetery, and we will be having a cleaning ceremony. Next, I'd like to introduce to you, I feel, a person who has really made me step out of my comfort zone and provided direction in that regard. I've had the opportunity to work with this person for about 3 years, I believe. And I know when I visit about this person to people back home, one of the things I always say, and he's Indian. I think that makes a huge difference for me anyway. This person came to Chemawa as the acting school supervisor and now has moved on to the education line officer. And as I understand it, this person is going to be overseeing 10 schools instead of the one school here at Chemawa included. He will continue to oversee that. But with that said, if you guys would please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Clayton.
Man, I'll tell you what, I think Nadine took some of those fears straight on today, huh? And done an excellent job. A person's job becomes a lot easier when you're surrounded with good people. Myself, I'm, like Nadine said, I'm Native. I was born out in Crow Agency, Montana. Grew up on the Standing Rock Reservation in Fort Yates, and enrolled back in Eagle Butte, South Dakota on the Cheyenne River Reservation. And my mother is enrolled out in White Earth, Minnesota. So, one of the stories I like to share all the time is about expectations and the foundation and the support. And it's about you people sitting out here. It's about family. It's about extended family. pieces are in place, good things happen. I said I had a good foundation. I had a real strong foundation when I was growing up, my mother and father. Firm believers. With 8 siblings, all eight of my brothers and sisters have graduated from college and have moved on and are doing good things in direct contact with kids, helping and supporting in whatever way. And that's kind of unheard of in a Native family growing up in the middle of the reservation. But I go back to saying, if the expectation is there and the support is there, anything's possible. And then I get back, then I start talking about Chemawa. Been here for the last 4 years. I came in first as I can't remember my first title when I came, but ended up as a school supervisor. And yesterday when we graduated, when 56 kids walked across the stage as the graduating class of 2009, I was proud. Because nowhere in the world other than in the off-reservation boarding schools you're going to see that many kids Native kids walk across the stage. And what I call them is the Native youth of today and the leaders of tomorrow. And it makes me proud to see that, to shake each and one of their hands. But as I came to Chemawa, and I told this story yesterday at graduation in between, I kind of butchered my speech a little bit, but one of these stories that I told was when I first came here to Chemawa, I was taking care of discipline, behavior issues, and so forth. And I'm a firm believer in the relationship. If you build a relationship with kids, they're less likely to tell you where to go and how to get there. Okay? So that's why I preach that to everybody. Relationships. Get to know these kids. Because it'll take a good year for them to trust you and believe in you and stand beside you. But I'll tell you, once that's done, that bond is one of the strongest that you'll ever see. Because of the trueness and the heart of the Native is there and it's strong. But the story was, it's kind of funny. I think it's funny, you know. A lot of times I think I'm funny, but I'm the only one laughing. But I was called down to a room, Mr. James Merrill's room, English teacher, freshman English. And sometimes we have a hard time understanding freshmen, you know, 14, 15-year-olds. And just being a week or 2 weeks on campus and themselves being in that same position, they didn't really know who everybody was yet or anything like that, or what roles they played at the school, and they were just trying to feel each other out and have a better understanding of the way the system works. And as I go into that room, these kids were kind of acting up in the back, way in the back row in the corner, so I'm glad, Don, you pulled everybody to the front. But anyway, they were kind of acting up back there, and this young man said, "Who are you?" And before I could even say anything, this little girl leaned over to him and said, "That's your daddy for the next 9 months." And I'll tell you, that really hit home, because I taught for 10 years, and I've been an administrator for the last 11 years now. But my last 4 years in a residential setting, academic institution with a residential setting, and it didn't really make sense right away. And when that little girl said that, "He's your daddy for the next 9 months," I go, man, my family just grew. But I'm 400 now. But it's really, Chemawa Indian School, oldest off-reservation boarding school, continuously run boarding school in the United States. There's always a debate between ourselves, Chemawa here, and down at Riverside, down in Anadarko. They claim